So greetings, we are at the ResPack conference and I'm delighted to be with a veteran of ResPack, that is Hari Haran. The designation is President Creativity and Innovation at EPL, who are probably the largest manufacturers of Lami tubes across the world. But he wears an interesting hat, which is global R&D for at EPL. So first and foremost, thank you so much, Hari Haran, for doing this. We are also from the same corner of the planet, which is Palakkad. So on that, I think we have something in common in addition to packaging. This is your fourth time at ResPack, where you are an important speaker and you've delivered a technical address. Just curious to know what brings you back to ResPack. How important, independent of EPL, independent of your long innings in the packaging fraternity, what is it about responsible packaging? What is it about sustainability? What is it about these key things that we've been discussing that attracts you to a conference such as ResPack?
See, ResPack, as the name suggests, responsible packaging.
Right.
I think that itself is a very nice topic, because packaging is absolutely required.
Sure.
How to become more responsible about it. So that's the right thing what we have to do. So that's my first cue why I got here for the first time. And as you know, coming to this kind of conferences, one of the primary intent is to meet or network with people who are like-minded.
Sure.
So I think that is one of the big success of this particular event, and maybe because of Professor Saha, who is well connected in the industry. Most of them are the students. So he has to able to bring a good kind of community with whom we can interact.
Sure.
So which has again and again made us come here. So like if you see the first time I came here, I was talking about the sustainability. So as we go ahead, we went on improvising on that. So this time I said, okay, I will talk about the food packaging and specifically for tubes kind of thing. So the reason primarily came here was, one, to meet or connect with people, network with them on like-minded people in terms of how we can work. In some cases we are able to help, in some cases we get the help. So I think that way it is something very
beneficial. So I sat through your presentation, and of course, like every time, it's riveting. There are obviously technical, key points to take away, etc. But what's also very fascinating is to see the entire Lamitube development. So for the benefit of our viewers who are obviously not as fortunate as me to be in the thing, what would you say will be 3 or 4 key things that you have identified since the 9 years you've been at EPL in terms of Lamitube development?
See, it's like this. If you see the sustainability, the overall thing which controls the sustainability, according to me, is reduction in the carbon footprint. So if you see the recyclability, everything comes as a subset of that. So I think that is one direction. So if you see, as you rightly said, I joined this company in 2017. So at that time, we were making almost 80 to 85% of our production was in aluminium barrier laminate. And even remaining 15% of PBL what we had no common thing, like it had EVOH, it had nylon, it had polyester, and even there is no standardization on the thickness. It can be anything. So from there, if you see today, like maybe we made our first commercial sale for sustainable tubes, which are recyclable in Code 2, approved by APR and Recyclas in 2020. So from there, from 2020 to 2026 today, I think our total sales, whatever we are making, almost close to 40% of what we are selling today is completely recyclable in Code 2. So that's one, I think, is something which you have to change. Second thing, I think, is usage of PCR. Like when we started initially, we were having some tubes up to maybe 25% PCR in the laminate and all. Today we are making laminated tubes, because see, making extruded tubes is easier because it's thicker. I can go up to 70%. In laminated tubes, we have up to 70% of PCR offering. Actually, to be very frank, I am very proud to see that, because when I say if a particular tube is 10 grams, 7 grams of it is a material which is already used, which is coming back into the system. So that's the second big thing. And third, I think, is in general the weight reduction, because if you see, for making the tube recyclable, I have to go to HDPE. When you go to HDPE, the laminate becomes stiffer, and naturally I have to go for downgauging. So this happens in the shoulder also, in the cap also. So I think there's a very good thing happened in total reduction of the weight. So in general, these are the 3 directions which we are going. And if you see one of the highlight, like if you see in India, starting maybe like last December, Colgate is completely in recyclable tube. They
Okay.
have completely converted from no ABL tube,
So
completely
that's 100%.
100% completely
Right,
to
right.
recyclable tube.
Yeah.
So I think these are some of the critical things which is actually kind of leading the direction.
And
for the
again, for my
business.
understanding, this is what, mainly HDPE, or what are we talking
These
of?
are all HDPE, the tubes which are compatible for recycling in the HDPE bottle stream.
Okay.
Why HDPE bottle stream? That is one of the things which is actually very widely available in many countries.
Sure.
So because of that, we always make sure that our tubes. So we want our consumers to see the tube as a HDPE bottle.
Got it.
Use it and put it back, and we take the PCR from that particular stream.
Right.
So effectively making it recyclable
Right.
and circular.
Understood. Yeah. So you of course mentioned Colgate, and I know partnering with EPL, two things have happened. Of course, you'll have collaborated as partners, you worked, etc. Uh, were there any challenges in that journey? In the sense, was because obviously you're doing a technology transfer. There's a question of trust, because I mean, at the scale at which they're doing the business, volume business, etc. The reason to ask this is because how quickly can we replicate it with, say, other brands? Number one, and number two is in other verticals as well.
See, for Colgate in India, we are the 100% supply for quite some
Correct.
time. And as a brand, they are a brand who was very responsible, and this change they have not initiated only in India. This is a global directive which comes to them.
Sure.
So they are also extremely strong in this particular segment. They have also made laminates which are recyclable in code too.
Yep.
So this was a natural extension of this being coming to India.
Yep.
So we are not really worried. Our relationship with Colgate is extremely strong. We are not really worried about any of these things, and
Sure.
we have worked very closely with them.
Yep.
And without their support, see, last year we got even a CII award in
Yes.
the excellence category.
Yep.
Only for this complete transition.
Yep. And again, your background, obviously, you were once upon a time with one of the major laminate manufacturers. What is the sort of, because obviously we're dealing with material science and you're having to get the engineering going, especially for a day-to-day, commodity like toothpaste in the oral care. So again, when you're making this shift in terms of understanding laminates, are there anything, say, as a brand owner, I should know that these are probably the red flags in terms of what a lamitube manufacturer could go through?
See, it's like this. Making an HDPE tube, it's very easy. Anybody can make.
Okay.
Like the laminate, you remove aluminium.
Correct.
You put EVOH films that can make. But
Yep.
there are a lot of learnings here.
Sure.
So like say for one example, I'll give you some critical examples.
Yes.
Let us say I'm putting a lot of HDPE.
Okay.
Right? If I want to make the tube recyclable in code 2,
Yeah.
I have to make it HDPE rich.
Sure.
When I make it HDPE rich, when I have to seal it, I have to give a higher temperature. So it reduces my productivity.
Sure.
Okay. Second thing, okay, now I have given a higher temperature to seal it. I have to cool it equally faster.
Yes.
So if I am not cooling it, then the tube can become kind of
Distorted,
pear-shaped or
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that after 24 hours or 48 hours. So there is a lot of learning. So when we say laminate, it's only one. There are
Correct.
a lot of things which have changed. Like PSG is our vendor or one of our partners in developing this.
Yep.
They have made a lot of changes in their machine, how to improve the cooling so that
Yep.
we don't actually lose the speed
Yes.
of production. So this is actually very easily said than done, but there are challenges.
Of
I'm
course.
sure the same is true for CP also,
Of
because
course.
they have to validate the stability of the product here. They have to completely kind of understand what is the kind of flavor loss, what is the kind of moisture loss, how they can make sure that the quality of the product, when it reaches the customer,
Sure.
it has to be not compromised in any way.
Understood.
So how to do that? So I think it's a contribution from everyone, what
Yep.
we have done here.
Understood. Yeah. Also curious to understand, Hari Haran, I mean, your role title is obviously global R&D. So just curious to know what is the actual mandate that you have in terms of team size? How does how does a day in your life look like? And then obviously, since it's global, there are things you're doing with the other plants and the other factories that EPL has in Latin America, Europe, other parts of Asia, etc.
So it's like this. As I said again, if you see EPL as a entity,
Yeah.
we make tubes across the globe.
Correct.
But the basic laminate manufacturing happens in China
Okay.
and in India.
In India.
So my team is based in India.
Okay.
We have almost around 15 people here.
Okay.
And basically what we do is focus primarily on the laminate development.
Sure.
Because I think that's the fundamental thing.
The crux of the
There is a lot of other teams which work very closely with the customers actually in terms of working on dispensing solutions. We call this the NPD team, the new product development
Right,
team,
right.
which is more for different kind of dispensing systems,
Sure.
different type of cap systems,
Yep.
so that kind of thing. But we work more on the laminate side of things.
Right.
And today we have our lab in Vasant.
Okay.
And I can tell you all the laminates, whatever we have recently implemented in terms of sustainability. Today we have almost like 25, 26 laminates offering only in this, including with PCR, without PCR. first generation Platina. Platina is our brand of laminate, what we call this.
Yeah.
First generation, second generation, third generation. Now we are working on fourth generation.
Fourth generation.
So that is the kind of speed at which developments are happening.
All right, and I mean, coming back to ResPack, I know that you'd made, the first presentation, which was about sustainability. Then you spoke about the second one, which was, I think, sustainability and challenges, and that was an interesting one because you're looking at contradictions in the system. So again, putting on your hat as the global R&D, person. Again, I want to understand from you, typically, what are these contradictory requirements where, the two universes there, but they sometimes don't meet and you have to make a problem into a solution.
So it's like this. Let us say I'm a cosmetic brand.
Okay.
I want to make a transparent tube. Already I'm having a transparent tube.
Right.
But the problem is this is not recyclable in code 2.
Okay.
I want to make it recyclable in code 2.
Right.
Okay, they come and say that you have a Platina range, give me.
Yep.
It's easy, I can give it.
Yep.
But the issue is, if I want this to be recyclable in code 2, I need to have a very high amount of HDPE.
Yes.
High density polyethylene. And high density polyethylene is generally more opaque. It cannot give the transparency.
Got it.
So now, the thing is, they want a recyclable laminate, but a very highly transparent laminate.
Yep.
So this is what I call the contradictions what we're talking about.
Understood.
So how to deliver this? So we delivered this. We call this Platina Vision as the name of the laminate.
Sure.
So it's a high transparency laminate, but it is certified for recycling in code 2 by both Recyclas as well as APR. APR is Association of Plastic Recycler and Recyclas is for Europe.
Right.
So that's what we did. So this is one. Similarly, for example, when we are working with one more customer, they want to develop a very thin laminate. When you go for a thin laminate, the problem is the moisture barrier is getting compromised.
Okay.
So we need to have a very good moisture barrier. At the same time, I should not lose the performance in terms of what you're looking about. So these are some of the contradicting. So in the second presentation when we did, I was trying to highlight these kind of contradictions and how we kind of work around to deliver the sustainable solution.
Got it. And how does this work? Because I mean, is it instinct? Is it sort of experience? Is it like data mining? Is it some kind of system analysis? Because obviously there's a process you're following.
So the first question you asked me why you are coming, you came here, right? So I told you one of the primary reason is collaboration.
Yeah, to pick up ideas.
To work with people.
Yeah.
So I think many a time we always talk that people have half ideas. I have a half idea, you have a half idea. When you work together, the full one forms.
Got it.
So similarly, collaboration is one of the very critical things. Some of the examples what I talked about. So that I think is there because if many of them we can come out with trial and error. I think eventually we'll be able to do it. But if you want to make it more faster, I think collaboration is one of the best thing. And of course, being here today is also a part of being that.
Got it. Again, coming back to ResPack, the third time when you appeared here on stage, you spoke of carbon footprints. And I also know EPL's been very proactive in terms of be it Platina, which you alluded to, also of course EcoVadis and a whole lot of things. We've been to your plant in Vapi and I've also seen the kind of operational efficiencies you have. So when you're talking of carbon footprints, especially for something like Lami tubes, A, what does it mean? And B, more importantly, from a brand perspective, what does it, what are the benefits they can accrue from this?
See, carbon footprint, very simply put. So let us say if I'm going to make a tube today.
Right.
If I study the carbon footprint for a typical manufacturer, almost 70% of the carbon footprint comes from the raw material.
Got it.
If I reduce the raw material, the impact on reducing the carbon footprint is extremely high.
Yes.
So now, if I take a tube, there are three components. One is the sleeve, one is the shoulder, and one is the cap. So I already told you in terms of sleeve, I'm reducing the thickness. One, because it has become HDPE.
Yes.
It becomes so stiff, anyhow I have to reduce. So initially I can tell you if I have to make a 50 diameter tube, I have to make a 450 micron web. Today, a 300 micron web
is adequate.
Is sufficient for that. So you can see it's almost 1/3 reduction what you're talking about. Second thing, if you see a typical tube, if you see the angle of the neck, it will be like this. So the cap height will be like this.
Yes.
So if I slightly taper it like this, the cap height becomes smaller. So they call it slim cap.
Nice.
So because of that, the weight comes down. Now today we are talking of Tiara. Like if you see PSG, they have come out with a no-show as a cap, which we call in our case Tiara. So in our case, the cap and the shoulder are integrated. So if you actually put all this together, I can tell you, we have a scope of reducing the tube weight by almost, say for example, 60% reduction. It can go up to even 40%.
That's
Because
enormous.
the tube and the cap
Strap.
and the shoulder is a very critical component.
Correct, correct.
Now, further, if you want to reduce this, then the PCR comes in. So, if you see a normal resin as compared to a mechanically recycled PCR, a mechanically recycled PCR has almost 30 to 35% footprint of a virgin material.
Understood.
So, with this, if I'm going to go for a PCR addition also, it further brings down.
Nice.
So, these are some of the directions which you have given. And as you rightly said today, these are all well aware. The brand owners are aware of this.
Sure.
And they are the one who are actually working with us, giving us the real, what you say, support to really take this forward. And that's the reason we are able to do
And how does this work? I mean, things like data on resins, data on, so many other things which are part of the material. There are data sheets and things like that, or is it, again, how are we working now?
So, you're talking of the carbon footprint
that's
kind of a thing?
That's right, yeah.
See, the carbon footprint normally...
Basically, to understand what are the instruments that you all are working on.
So basically, there are two methods what we do
Right.
it. One, there is a software available.
Okay.
So it's called a Gabi software.
Okay.
So basically, where you take it and you put the details. Like for example, you say this is my tube component, this is my weight of the shoulder. This is a so automatically it gives you a number. That is one way of doing it. And the second way of doing it is actually you can do your own calculation.
Okay.
Which is more specific to you also. So basically, what we do, there are consultants who are available who are very good in this. So we work with them, understand, generate, and see how we can do this.
Right.
But by far, in our case, we work more with the Gabi software, and we can see how the benefit is happening.
Sure.
And mostly the benefits are given in terms of percentage.
Got it.
Because the actual value depends upon the what is the framework on which you are working. What's your frame of reference?
Got it.
So if you keep the same frame of reference, you can see how much is the reduction in the footprint in terms of the percentage.
Nice. I'll just move on a little bit. I mean, of course, you've spoken of lower, material costs. You've also talked of reduction. You also, what else is happening in terms of, say, things like retooling? What's happening in terms of, production batches? What's happening in terms of, the molecular structure? Are there any sort of R&D that's transpiring in that areas, or that's outside your domain?
No, we certainly do. See, as I said, if you're talking of the tooling and changes, what you are talking about, there have not been any major one because, as I said, when the thickness reduces, we already had tooling for the lower ones.
Got it.
So we are working on it. But if there are specific ones which are required, I think there are some cost involved. We work with the customers, that is the brand owners, and we work how to solve this. So certainly I can tell you the transition has not been very smooth.
Okay.
It's a bit bumpy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of areas where we had to kind of work hard to solve the problem. But I think now, to some extent, I will say it's history, because if you say it's almost 5-6 years now, maybe if we ask this question maybe 3-4 years before, maybe that was still a problem. Today we are able to work around that, and we are able to give a lot of solutions to this industry, because as I told you, already 40% is converted.
Yeah. Interesting. Again, you in your presentation, you talked about closed loop recycling and things like that. So again, when you are looking at things like resins, are there considerations for, say, biogenics and things like that? Is there any scope for that kind of work that's transpiring, or?
Yeah, biogenic, you're talking of the raw materials which are derived from the organic sources, right? Of course, we are doing it. So basically, initially when we started this in 2018, 17, 18, we were taking materials from Braskem kind of material, where they take the material from sugarcane, and we used to use that. And you say that, see, again, this is a method of reducing the carbon footprint.
Got it.
Because when you actually go for biogenic carbon, they have a negative footprint actually, because it takes carbon dioxide when the process is happening. So that helps in reducing the carbon footprint. So we certainly have done that. Then later, the ones which have come are not, because again there was a question, sugarcane is from the food value chain.
Right. So you're depriving,
So then we started on the non-food value chain products which are available, which are primarily by the mass balance method, what we used to do this. And these are all commercial cases already. We are supplying to end-use customers with materials which are sourced with biogenic carbon.
So today, of course, you spoke about food, food contact applications. So again, there's always talk of this polyolefin simplification process. But how do you ensure, because it's food contact, that the recycled content is safe for that? Again, are there systems in place for that kind of?
That's a very important question, honestly. Because when we were working on 2017, and we were looking at PCR options, these were the first things which we were working on. So as an example, I can tell you, we take PCR HDPE, right? In India, agrochemicals are sold in HDPE bottle.
Correct.
Due to some reason, if the material is sourced from there, the material is recycled and comes into it, actually I am contaminating my body with these chemicals. So that is where we started using materials with FDA NOL. So there is something called no objection letter or letter of authorization. So if you go to the FDA website, basically there are a list of people who are giving the PCR material with an FDA authorization. Basically what they are doing, two different things they do. One is the source with the material which you recycle has to be an food application.
Yeah, of
so
course.
that they will make sure. And second thing, they have an extra process to remove this volatiles and all these things. So literally it makes it odorless. So the quality of the material, so basically when you take an FDO annual material, to a great extent, of course, still we take a lot of backup supportings, the regulatory saying that it is phthalate free. So there are a lot of things which we ask and the suppliers give. But the primary thing, the prima facie, what is more important is to go for a grade with the NOL, FDA NOL.
Yeah, nice. Just moving on a little bit, I know we've been focusing on the tube per se, but for me what was very interesting, I think it was a Cosmo Prof show where I visited your stall and I saw that there are two interesting developments. One was cap closures and what you're doing in terms of either play with that or eliminating it. And third is what you are doing with tube shoulders. So again, obviously there's a logic to it because I don't use most of those products, so I didn't understand the logic, but I just realized that there's an enormous amount of development which has happened in that. So I want to know, A, what is the sort of brand owner logic behind it, and what is EPL's logic to obviously unroll this number of products in the portfolio, especially for these two, cap closures and tube shoulders.
See, traditionally, if you see tube as a segment, we are very strong in oral.
Correct.
Because the product is spaced. So if you go for oral, we don't see this kind of innovations.
Correct.
The innovations cycle itself is a bit slow, and mostly
more
it goes
gradual,
a standard kind of shoulder or a dispensing and a cap. But what is happening now, that's a big market still and it's growing, it has kind of reached its equilibrium. But today the growth is happening more in cosmetics. So when you talk of cosmetics, that is where the dispensers becomes very, very critical.
Very crucial,
So depending upon the type of product, the dispensing also. So if it is a liquid kind of a product and they have to apply say 4 or 5 drops. So if I'm going to give a standard, this thing is not going to work for them. So you have to have something which works. So like that today there are a lot of dispensing options which are coming out. So I think now we are also started focusing more on cosmetics. If you see the recent thing, what EPL talks about, initially we were more of focus was on oral. Today we have not lost the focus on oral, but more on that we started working on some of the emerging segments also, something like cosmetics. So which makes it important for us to work on this segment also. So but one thing here is it is actually transitions faster. The design changes very faster.
Correct.
So we need to be updated on this, and we also had to be absolutely adept and agile here.
So when you say design, is design of structure or
the dispensers?
Okay. And is that also a team that reports to you in terms of creating these dispensing structures? Or?
No, at this point of time there is a design team. So there is something called a center of excellence we have. So that is specifically for cosmetics.
Which is also housed in Vasan?
No, so this is actually center of excellence is basically a design team what you are talking about. So this is headed by Hari actually. So he is kind of leading the cosmetics thing what you are talking. So here under him he has some designers. So actually, as I said, this is something which is of recent development because we were actually working more on non-cosmetics, and we were actually procuring this kind of designers from outside. But I said we should also get into this thing more, and slowly now we are working on this.
And I mean, you've shared in this very short while, a bunch of wonderful ideas. I'm again curious to know how many of these A are patented and B, it's got the sort of EPL, logo on it in a way.
So, see, as I said, last year we got an award, I told you, for CII. That was for working with Colgate. And for...
Just trivia for you, I was on the jury of that award, so...
Fantastic. On the same thing, we also got an award last year from CII. For the IP also. And the reason why we got this is for the size of our company, the amount of money we had spent on R&D and filing is extremely high. So basically today we have a patent portfolio crossing more than 200 patents. Of this maybe around 160 to 170 is already granted. So IP is an area where we focus. So primarily it is for protecting because the freedom to operate is extremely critical. So that's the reason why we work more on this thing. And to be very frank, this is on the product for laminates. We also also have a lot of design patents.
Okay.
So that's primarily for the different types of dispensers what we are talking. So that's where we work on.
Yeah. And again, I don't want you to share numbers, etc. But this IP for which you won the award, and I think it's prestigious because it actually comes across as a science-based company, working on research. And I know there are some of the people in your the EPL team, erstwhile SL, just the pool of talent that's over there. So again, if you can give us a sense of how much of brain power goes into research and the actual, working on material science, molecular weights, those kind of things.
See, as I said, the number of people is 15
yeah.
internally.
Correct.
But as I said, the actual power is by collaboration.
Yes.
So when you are working, we are not actually working, we are not limited by the number of people with whom we are working.
Got it.
But we are actually working with some of the best brains. See, that's the advantage of being EPL. Because here there are a lot of people who are ready to work with you and deliver solutions which are extremely differentiated as compared to what the market is offering. So more than the internal, of course, internal we have a very good team who are working on it.
Right.
But we are not limited by our internal knowledge. We certainly draw a lot of ideas and development from the external pool of experts or consultants with whom we work.
Got it. I'm also, just a couple of questions now, that when you walk into a hotel and, stay overnight and walk into the washroom and pick up a tube, whatever it is, a mouthwash or a, hand wash, etc. And when you are using it as a consumer, is your brain as an EPL R&D global head also working simultaneously? Or
So rather than my brain working, I will say the tube talks to me.
The tube talks to you. So what does it tell? Actually, that's what the question was. What does it tell to you? Yeah.
No, see, two things are happening here. So one is things have changed. So nowadays, if you walk into a hotel, it's very difficult to find this kind of small tubes.
That's true.
Because nowadays you are seeing most of them are actually kind of dispensable.
You squeeze and use.
And still maybe in some cases some tubes are available. So naturally we try to take it. It's not only here, for anywhere. See, forget this. If I go to any country, whether it's US or Europe, one of the very critical thing is I visit the local supermarket there and go and see what kind of products are available and see how differentiated they are, what are the innovations what they are working on, and how we can learn something from that which we have not done.
Got it. But do you pick up things like when you say, for example, go to a hospital, or sometimes you're working in an old care center where old people probably have a little difficulty in, utilizing some of these new age products, or even people who are left-handed, because the way they hold the tube is very different from those, a majority of the planet which opens it. So are there these kind of peculiarities?
So this is not specific. So I think the question in general you are directing me towards is convenience. Right? So how are you making it convenient for the people to use the product? Right? One of the reasons, even today in presentation I was talking, why the tube format is gaining prominence in food is primarily because of the convenience. Like if it's a paste kind of a format, the most convenient option is tubes. As simple as that. Because I can put a pressure, like even if you take a ketchup, most of the time you will be doing like this sitting. So here, it is actually you can directly give the pressure and the product can come out. So that's the reason why we are doing. And for convenience, improving, one of the primary thing what we are working on is related to what I told before. So for cosmetics, if you are talking of different types of dispensing depending on the product, we are also working on convenience for, say, for example, food. Like for example, if I want to take butter or mayonnaise in the tube, instead of applying as a normal one, can I make it more flatter and can I just apply it directly?
Nice, clever.
So, so these are some of the things which directions people have started thinking on. So I'm sure over time this will be working much more strongly now.
So you become like a mini food technologist as well, right? In a way, you have to,
So when we work on pharma tubes, we become pharmacists. When we work on food tubes, because we learn from them. Honestly, we are plastic people, we know about plastics. But today when I talked about honey packaging, I talked about what is honey. I say it has 85% sugar. How do I know? I work with people. Right. So that is how we learn. So naturally, yes, we learn as we go ahead.
So what next for you and Hari Haran and the team, your team? What are the new little magic things that you're going to share?
So a lot of things are happening. See, for us, the focus is slightly moving. Like last 5-6 years, we have been working very clearly with the core focus on sustainability. So as I said, we have almost like 26 to 27 offerings only on sustainability. Probably by far the highest in the industry. But now we started working more on the cosmetics, especially as you rightly said, we are working more on different types of tube dispensing. How can you make the tube look more attractive without losing on the sustainability? So those kind of things. So the focus is there. So I'm sure in the next 1 or 2 years, we'll be coming out with much more what is the innovations which are differentiated in the cosmetic space also.
Got it. Got
Maybe
it.
next year in the ResPack I'll talk about
You can,
cosmetic
yeah.
packaging.
Nice, nice. And again, just because you've obviously gone to all your factories, etc. Your favorite EPL like factory where you think all your dreams that you plan in Vasan gets realized to the fullest. Yeah.
See, I have gone not to all because,
Okay.
as I said, I'm more on the
The
laminate.
desk, yeah.
But the thing is, among all the factories till now, what limited which I have gone, I like my base factory in Vasan.
Oh, okay, Vasan, yeah.
Because
the
that
mother
is
plant, yeah.
that is the base factory because the
yeah,
first
yeah.
factory for
Correct.
EPL.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that is where still my R&D center is also based. That's where
Yes.
we make the laminate.
yeah.
That's a favorite place for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, no, it is a special place, yeah, and many ideas have been born over there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, before I let you go, I'll just give you a copy of this little thing that we have put together. It's the new Watt packaging. It's repackaged, redesigned, everything, and we hope you like it and you read it and your team reads it. Yeah, we do cover a lot of EPL in that as well. We hope to cover you and some of your case studies. So, thank you very much, Hari Haran. So that was Hari Haran. He is President Creativity and Innovation at EPL Limited, and we are here at the ResPack conference where Hari Haran had just short while ago done a presentation on food packaging applications with Lami tubes. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Ramu.
Romba
Nice
Nandri.
meeting you.